my new company. It's Africa Presents, and we are based up in Scotland. That's me.
Said Mara, correct?
Yes.
So Mara, how long have you been doing this?
I have been a storyteller for about 8 years, and I started the company last year, and the sketchbook arrived just a few weeks ago, so this part of what I'm doing is very new and quite an exciting time, because even though it's new, we've had a lot of really positive feedback.
So what inspired you to do this?
I have an 8-year-old
Okay.
daughter, and we live in Edinburgh, which is not the most multicultural of places.
Right.
And so I'm really trying to encourage her to embrace her African identity. And so I do that a lot with the storytelling as well, and I take her regularly back to Kenya. But this sketchbook was really about educating and inspiring and encouraging creativity, but from a very African perspective. So within it, we're featuring the kente from Ghana, the kanga from East Africa, so different fabrics and textiles and fashions from across the continent, both quite traditional and then contemporary and modern.
So what was the day that made you think, you know what, I've got to change this, I've got to create something, I've got to do something different, because this stuff I'm getting at the moment is not quite what I want. There must be something, there must have been a day or something else that would have triggered it.
Yeah, there was. It was, I have a son as well, a 1.5 years old he is, and last year, I go back to Kenya every year, so last year I took him to show off to family, and of course we always bring a gift back for the kids. So I was looking for something for Imani to bring back, and I couldn't find anything because she's got all the clothes, she's got the jewelry, and there was nothing that I couldn't have got anywhere else. So in the end I bought her a gift at Schiphol Airport, one of these designer pop star books, and I thought I really wish there was an African version of this, because there's so much history and content and context that she could really learn from, and I thought I'm going to do it. So that was last year. So the idea began about a year ago. Yeah.
It's quite inspirational, because there's a black woman in America had a similar sort of thought process, but she did it with dolls, because she was fed up of seeing her daughter looking at Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
You know, and her daughter's like looking at, you know, Barbie, which is white,
Yeah.
and looking at herself and saying, well, Barbie's beautiful, but I'm not because I'm black. So yourself, growing up, did you have any of those sort of issues growing up? Self-identity, stuff like that?
No, I grew up in Kenya.
Yes.
And so coming here, I think growing up in Kenya, I probably had a really positive experience.
Right.
And then coming to Scotland, I think because I had that confidence anyway, it was never really an issue.
Right.
And if I did experience racism, it was probably water off a duck's back, and I never even realized that there was a problem.
Right.
But I think it's when you have children and you can see there's such a lack of diversity in the media, and the education systems never really portray positive imagery of Africa, and I was like, that's not the Africa that I know, and that's not the Africa I want her to know. And it's even really simple things, like when they show images of kids running around barefoot, I was always barefoot because there's a feeling of freedom, but it's been turned and twisted into a negative. And so when she goes back to Kenya, I make sure that she's exposed to these things, so she can see that whatever you see on the media is actually not the truth, and you have to always question things and be proud of where you're from, and really encourage her to have confidence in her African heritage.
So you're at Divas of Colour 2016. Tell us a little bit about Divas of Colour, how you got involved with it.
The power of social media, I suppose. I think it was a tweet. I tried to be as active as possible on Twitter and Facebook, and I think somebody had mentioned it. I saw it and I signed up to it, and I thought it just sounded like a really wonderful event, because I don't think we celebrate ourselves enough. And
Indeed.
especially, I'm very much a woman's woman, and so especially when it's celebrating the women, I just thought it would be really lovely to be a part of this. And so here I am.
Okay, so people are going to ask me, Ingram, what does this book look like? We've seen the front cover. What does it look like on the inside?
I'll show you the back cover,
Okay.
because on the back cover, I don't know if you can see this, but a lot of books, if they are international, they have got Italian, Spanish, French language, but
Yes.
we decided to put Yoruba, Shona, there's a little bit of Zulu, Afrikaans, Swahili, some Arabic. So it's embrace your creativity, use your imagination in a few of the different languages that you find across the continent. And then inside it, it comes with these stencils.
Okay.
So you use these stencils to design your own fashion. So it's things like your dresses and your tops. But from the beginning, I will just flick it, I suppose. It has got little stories, and the company is Africa Presents, and this is Africa. So the idea is that she will present lots of different things that celebrate African cultures. It shows, this is Zulu patterns that feature on some of the textile, the Ankara fabric, and it shows how you use the stencils to create your own designs.
Right.
And some kids I've seen are using cloth and sequins, so they are using their creativity.
Right.
It also has the black and white version, so it shows you how to draw different hairdos, so from your cornrows, your braids, your dreadlocks, your twists, all sorts of different ways that you can do hair, because oftentimes when kids are learning how to draw hair, it's really Snow White and Cinderella and the Disney princesses.
Indeed.
You never see, this is how I can draw a dreadlock. You know, and then also just this is the mud cloth from Mali, and then you've got the models next to it, so then you can just design your own fashions, and it's good also people are experimenting with designing textiles, so it's not just about the fashion, it's just people can experiment with this hairdo matching with this fabric and this style. So yeah, it's to encourage creativity and celebrate African culture and educate and inspire all at the same time.
So, okay, people watching this
Yeah.
would like a copy of that book.
Yes.
How do they get in touch with you to get that book?
We are on Facebook as Africa Presents, and it's Africa with a K, and Twitter the same, Africa Presents, and we have a website africapresents.com, and we are very easily contactable, and we just like to hear from people, and if they go on the website then they can get in touch with us in lots of different ways. So yeah.
Mara,
Yes,
thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
thank you, thanks very much.